For corners, at the root of it. Robert Newell. Life underground. They creep along silently under the ground. They can grab onto rocks or bark and grip like glue. They hold up the biggest trees and the smallest sprouts. Some of them feed us. Can you guess what they are? They are roots. Many tall trees have wide, strong roots to support them. A tree has a trunk, branches, and thousands of leaves. These are only some parts of the tree. It also has many roots hidden under the ground. Most roots grow down and spread out under the soil. In fact, a tree's roots can spread out 4 times further than its branches. Roots come in all shapes and sizes. Some roots are long and skinny. Others are fat and round. Many roots look like tangled string. No matter how they look, roots play a very important part in helping plants live and grow. See for yourself. How does a plant grow? You need a clear glass jar, a paper towel, a bean seed, water. 1. Dampen a paper towel. 2. Put the towel in an uncovered glass jar. 3. Place the seed against the side of the jar. 4. Watch what happens after a few days. In which direction do the roots grow? How are the roots and stem alike or different? What do roots do? Roots have many important tasks. Roots act as anchors and hold plants in the soil. Trees could be blown away by wind if they did not have roots. Other plants could be washed away by rain. Roots also take in the water and nutrients that plants need to live and grow. How roots hold on. Roots are strong and flexible. They push through concrete footpaths. They break up roads. They wind through dirt and wrap around rocks and pebbles. They grip the soil so firmly that they can hold up trees as tall as buildings. Roots are strong. Roots can push through hard surfaces because of their root caps, or root tips. The root caps grow quickly. They weave around objects and push their way through rocks and soil. They even creep inside the cracks of rocks and, as they grow bigger, they push apart the rocks. Can you see thousands of tiny root hairs on this hyacinth root? How roots absorb water. All plants need water to live. It is a root's task to find water. The tiniest roots, called root hairs, branch out through the soil. They take in water and minerals. The water travels through tubes in the roots and stems to every leaf of the plant. Why do roots have different shapes? Plants have different kinds of roots, depending on where they live and how much water they need. Some plants grow where there is plenty of water. Their roots are usually short and near the surface of the ground. Plants that live in dry places, like the desert, need longer roots. Their long roots can stretch in a wide circle or dig deep down in the soil to find water. Plants need roots to absorb water whether they are in a desert or a rainforest. Some plants have one large main root that goes straight down into the soil. This is called a taproot. It keeps the plant in place. Many garden plants and flowers have taproots. Other plants have many thin roots that spread out in all directions. These are called fibrous roots. They are usually just under the soil. Most grasses and some flowering plants have fibrous roots. Taproots and fibrous roots do a good job of capturing water for plants. Taproots go deep into the soil. They can reach down to where there is more water. Fibrous roots spread out like a wide web around a plant. They absorb water from a large area when it rains. A grapevine has a taproot system. The first root it grows is the taproot. It also has other strong roots. See for yourself. How are roots different? You need a trowel, grass, a dandelion. 1. Ask a parent or teacher where you may dig. 2. Dig up a very small patch of grass. 3. Dig up a dandelion. 4. Shake the dirt off the roots. How are the roots alike or different? Most palm trees grow in wet, tropical places. They usually have tall, thin trunks. Some palm trees can grow to be 20 stories tall. Their trunks need extra support to help them stand. Palm trees have a strong web of fibrous roots. The thick web of roots helps keep these trees standing tall. Since palm trees usually grow in a wet climate, they do not need roots to dive deep in the soil to get water. Their roots soak up water from the top layers of soil. A barrel cactus has fibrous roots. Desert plants grow in the driest places on Earth. Their roots must absorb every drop of water they can find. Some desert plants, such as the saguaro cactus, have both a deep taproot and thick mats of fibrous roots that spread far beyond the plant. These roots help the cactus absorb all the available water. A saguaro cactus has deep and wide roots. Roots without soil. Not all roots grow in soil. Some roots grow underwater. Water hyacinths float on top of ponds. Their fibrous roots sit below the surface of the water. Water hyacinth roots are thin and feather-like. They do not have to hold the plant in place or grow far in search of water. Growing plants without soil is called hydroponics. Farmers sometimes grow plants in water, sand, or gravel. They need to add nutrients where the roots are growing. Plants do not need to be in soil as long as they have nutrients. Many vegetables are grown this way. Plants that are grown using hydroponics grow quickly. They can be set close together so that many plants can grow at one time. In a greenhouse, plants can be grown all year. It is also easy to control pests in a greenhouse. These lettuce plants are growing in long trays filled with water. Roots above ground. Mangrove trees grow in thick, wet mud. They grow special roots above the ground to help them survive. Big, curved buttress roots and thin, arched prop roots help the mangrove stand in wet, shifting soil. Pencil roots and knee roots stick up above the mud to help the roots get the air they need. These boats are anchored close to the mangroves. Sturdy roots make mangrove trees very useful. People often tie their boats to mangrove trees when a storm is on the way. One storm in Darwin, Australia, destroyed almost every boat in the Darwin harbor. Only 2 boats were saved. These boats were safely tucked away among the mangrove trees. Some palm trees have thick stilt roots to grow in thin soil and rocky ground. Some roots are not hidden in water or soil. Instead, they grow above the ground for special reasons. Stilt roots grow out and downwards from tree trunks, like legs. They help plants stay in soil that is very thin. Pillar roots grow straight down from tree branches. They help the tree to grow over a wider area. This banyan tree has hundreds of pillar roots. Epiphytes are also known as air plants. Some orchids are epiphytes. Some plants live up in trees or on top of rocks. They are called epiphytes. Their roots are called aerial roots. They never touch the ground. Most epiphytes grow in very wet places, such as rainforests. Their aerial roots cling tightly to tree branches and absorb water from dew and rain. Living high in trees helps epiphytes get the light they need. Root facts. Plants are not the only things that rely on roots to grow healthy and strong. People do too. Carrots, parsnips, turnips, radishes, and beets are all roots that we eat. They are tap roots. They swell up and store water and food. Then, in dry spells of weather, the plant uses the stored food and water. Is it a root or not? Bulbs look like roots, but they are actually leaves and stems that grow underground. The roots grow down from the bulb to get food from the soil. A tuber also looks like a root. It is an underground stem. Some badgers build their set, or home, under tree roots. Roots are useful in other ways, too. Animals such as badgers, wombats, and rabbits often dig burrows underneath tree roots. The roots act like the beams of a roof and hold the soil in place. The roots also soak up rainwater, helping the animal homes stay warm and dry. A wombat has sharp claws for digging tunnels. Roots may not be as pretty as flowers and leaves, but they are a very important part of plants. They help plants get water and nutrients. They store food. They grip the soil and keep plants in one place. They grow in air and water. They break through rocks in the soil. Some roots are good to eat. Roots are one of the most useful parts of a plant or tree. The strangler fig grows over a tree and strangles the tree with its long twisty roots. Roots are so strong that it takes a gust of wind traveling 210 kilometers per hour to knock down a large tree. Glossary. Aerial roots, roots that are exposed to air. Buttress roots, large, curved roots that grow above ground. Epiphytes, plants that are not rooted in the ground and usually grow on other plants. Fibrous roots, roots with many strands. Hydroponics, the process of growing plants with no soil. Knee roots, knob-like roots that rise above the ground. Minerals, substances in the soil that plants need to grow anything needed by living things to live and grow. Nutrients, roots that stick up out of the ground. Pencil roots, roots that grow down from branches. Pillar roots, thin, arched roots that grow above ground to support a tree. Prop roots, growing tips of roots. Root caps, root hairs, the smallest roots that collect water. Stilt roots, roots that grow out from trunks. Taproot, a large, main root that grows downwards.